Welcome back. We will dedicate the next 1.5 hours to the topic of opportunities and challenges, more challenges than the opportunities of the connected ecosystem of the connected cars. And it is my great pleasure to introduce Nikolaos Tsouroulas, who is heading up Cybersecurity Product Unit in a specialized division of Telefónica called Sober 11 Pass. Nikolaos had the best job ever, and I bet you he never stands still, because his mission is to stay ahead of the attackers, to be thinking forward, to be developing through analytics, through intelligence, to be prepared for what's coming, and fundamentally to protect us all. He holds an MSc in Computer Advanced Science from the Imperial College in London. So please join me in welcoming Nikolaos to the stage.
So, hello, good afternoon, everybody. I would like to start by expressing my gratitude to the organization for the invitation and for sharing with all of you these moments around such an exciting topic, connected cars. I don't know if I have the most exciting job or best job, as my colleague here said, but it's truly not easy. But we don't get bored, that's for sure. Why is Telefónica here? What do we have to contribute into the connected car vision? So before I start, I would like to explain a little bit give you a little bit of information about who we are. Okay? How can I change slides? Sorry. Okay. Now I have it. Sorry, I have the power. So, Telefónica. You all know that we are a global telco. We are managing more than 300 million lines. We are present in 21 countries. And we are in the process of a digital transformation. We are in the middle of a journey that, in a sense, it's similar to what the automotive industry is doing right now, the journey they're embarking on right now. We started like 6-7 years ago, this digital transformation, and right at the beginning, we had the firm belief that we had to change our DNA. We needed to create a digital DNA, and there were a couple of new genes that we wanted to encode into this new DNA. Privacy and cybersecurity. I think I don't have to argue a lot to convince you that these are critical elements for any digital business, for any digital service, for any digital endeavor. And the connected car is no different. It's been like more than a decade that the car stopped being the mechanical, let's say, beast that it was before. It's a combination of mechanical electronic components. Some people say that it was like a PC on wheels. I think that this example fell short of what it actually is. It's a complete network on wheels. I don't have to explain in this forum a lot to justify this. There are dozens, let's say, of sensors, processing units, connected elements that diagnose, make decisions, act on the car. And with the advent of connected car, many started to think about the car as a smartphone on wheels. It's even short-sighted to think a car as a smartphone. We should think it as a full internet node. It's a network that connects to internet, it generates data, it receives the data, it interacts with humans, with local networks, with remote networks, with mobile phones. It's a citizen of the internet as any other complex systems. Now, the next stage is the autonomous car, of course. Probably you have heard a lot during this event about the autonomous car. On the outside, I really don't know how it's going to look, but as a boy watching the Knight Rider, I hope that it will look like that and not like that. But as an engineer, what I'm really certain is that underneath, it looks like this, okay? And I don't want to explain right now the whole architecture, but I want you to understand that the physical car is just a Muppet, a powerful mechanical Muppet that is under the control of sensors, actuators, processing units, the local network, some other, let's say, wireless local networks, Bluetooth, with various interfaces. And also, it's under the control of backend services, mobile applications. It generates a lot of private and sensitive information. We needed to see the whole thing, okay, in order to secure it. And for the attackers, it's easy. They just need to find one hole in the whole picture. As security providers, as car manufacturers, we need to secure the whole thing. That's the challenge. And I will start with the bad news first, okay? When you are talking about something new and something complex, typically, it's unavoidable to have some security issues. Humans and budgets are other problems, are other enemies of security, but anyway, I will leave this for another talk. Now, let's see some examples. These are not incidents, these are just examples, vulnerabilities and potential hacks discovered by researchers. I'm picking some real examples that were made public. This doesn't mean that those companies are not secure, not at all. Actually, they are pioneering the connected car. And they are intentionally examples that are old, so everything was patched at the time, nothing really happened. But they do have some lessons to teach us. That's why I selected to present them, okay? So, case number one, a Tesla-esque demo hack. Those researchers showed two things. First, how to connect a laptop to that network, the network that the car today is, and how to run a command to start it up. So that was similar to what we see in the movies, the hot wiring, where the bad guy or the hero gets into a car, removes two wires, connects them, and the car goes. Well, something similar, but the digital version. And the second thing they demonstrated in this particular case, how to leverage vulnerabilities within the web browser of the infotainment system, and from there, work their way, leveraging additional vulnerabilities to ultimately be able to install a Trojan and remotely cut the engine. Okay? Second case I would like to mention, a similar thing with the Cherokee Jeep. Okay? Again, vulnerabilities in this situation, in this case within the Uconnect system. The researchers were able to modify a part of the infotainment system, send commands to the CAN bus, and gain control, remote control to some of the car's functionalities. Similar approach, but there is a key difference between these two examples that I will mention later. Okay? Third example, you don't have to attack the car itself. You can go to the backend. Connected drive, I suppose you all know what BMW's connected drive system is, a system to manage remotely the car. So in that case, some German researchers found that an older version of the system do not implement HTTPS encryption. You probably know, as internet users, that when you connect to your bank account, you need to make sure that this lock that you see right next to the URL must be yellow and active. That means that the connection is encrypted. Nobody can get in the middle and see what is your password, what information you are exchanging. So it was a similar flow. There was no encryption, so the system was vulnerable against the man-in-the-middle attack. Okay. So these examples raise a question. Are we repeating mistakes that others did in the future? Because all these things that you see here, as a security professional, I'm bored to see them during the past years in other industries. It's bread and butter. They happen all the time. The good news is that we believe that we can avoid repeating those mistakes. There are lots of things that we know how to do it, and we know how to do it today. It's not rocket science. Okay? It's just discipline and effort. So my plea to the whole, let's say, ecosystem is to don't try to reinvent the cybersecurity wheel. If you want to add security, it's something that we more or less know how to do. Security is never 100%, but we know how to lower the risk so that we can get sufficient benefits. Okay, that's our business, that's the security business. I was talking before about changing our DNA and adding a few genes. There are 3 genes that we need to add: prevention, detection, and response. All things are necessary, or genes are necessary. Let's talk about prevention, okay? It's about taking care of the security basics, not rocket science. Again, you need to start from the beginning, the system design. Remember the complex architecture I showed you before? This is what a car is, and we need to design the security for the whole thing, not just the pieces, okay? In that sense, we need to secure all systems. We need to make sure that things like hacking and infotainment system should never give access to the canvas. Never. This is a design flaw. It should never happen. These 2 things should be isolated, okay? Authentication. When the car receives a command from the backend or from the user, we need to make sure that the user is the owner, a legitimate user, or the backend is the legitimate backend, not an imposter. So authentication is critical, and we have seen vulnerabilities of that kind in some systems. Encryption. Even if you get access to the local network or you get into the middle of a connection with the backend, you shouldn't be able to see anything, understand anything, or do anything. Encryption is key. Then secure development. Car companies are not software companies, but there is a wealth, let's say, of best practices out there in the industry and other partners that can help. Develop secure components is also a must. Quality assurance. I don't know, I think we have a lot to learn about the testing and the quality assurance that car companies do as manufacturers, right? But when you're talking about IT system and software, we need to stress that the quality assurance is not only about functionality. Security testing is a part of that, and we shouldn't forget it. And even that is not enough. IT systems have the bad habit of actually aging. Even if you do a perfect QA, maybe in a month, a third-party component that you're using gets a new vulnerability, a new technique, something that you didn't know at the moment that you released, let's say, the software when you put the car on the market. So continuous vulnerability testing is also something basic. It's standard practice everywhere, let's say, in the digital industry. It needs to be a standard practice also for the connected car and the automotive industry. And when we are talking about continuous, we don't say every year, every month. We are talking about every single day, every single minute. That's the concept of the persistent per testing that we pioneered at 11 Paths, and I invite you to have a look at our website to find more about what it is, okay? Detection. We are potentially fighting against many different, let's say, threat actors. I don't know, cyber criminals, hackers, hacktivists, I don't know, national attacks, whatever. There is a wealth of information out there on the internet, the public internet, the private forums, the underground forums. In other security, let's say, spaces, threat intelligence is a key piece in order to stay ahead. That's part of my business, threat intelligence. This should also be part of our DNA if we want to protect the connected car. And also security analytics. We cannot just be passive waiting for something bad to happen. We need to continuously look, get all the data, what command is the car receiving, what information is sending, who is interacting. Any abnormal behavior we should be able to track and match against attack patterns so that we can anticipate attacks. Another example, this is recent, and this is something that leverages one of our technologies, MassUp. It's a tool that analyzes mobile applications to find vulnerabilities. I did something very simple. I asked a couple of analysts to have a look at 3 random Android applications. 3 random. I didn't choose them by any criteria. The first thing that we saw was that those applications were not obfuscated. You go to the Google Play Store, you get the files, and you can see more or less how the application is implemented. That makes things very easy for an attacker looking for a vulnerability. So application number 1, I won't say names, name names, of course. This is something that it's live. I mean, there are existing vulnerabilities. So we have to disclose them responsibly. Okay? But I will give you some examples where those genes, it appears that they don't exist in this particular case for those developers. The first application is using a developer email and a name to sign the application that appears in a public, let's say, a password leak. You know the leaks that you read on the news, I don't know, Yahoo, Adobe, that are hacked and they are databases with millions of usernames and passwords out there on the internet. So the email and the password of that guy was in one of those leaks. So we are just hoping that that person is not doing what each one of us is doing. Let's hope he's not reusing his password, okay? But because that would be a real problem. We also found hard-coded username and passwords within URLs. I don't want to go into details, but trust me, this is a critical vulnerability. It shouldn't be there. Another known vulnerability, coding vulnerability, that allows the execution of arbitrary code. Again, this is bad. It's a critical vulnerability. It shouldn't be there. The second application, somewhere more popular, in order of magnitude more popular. Again, similar vulnerability, hard-coded username and passwords. So it means that you can get the credentials and try to connect to the backend just by looking at the application. This should not happen. And problems, they did implement encryption, but not correctly. There were problems with SSL implementation, the certificate checking. Again, this should not happen. So there is work to be done to improve stuff. But anyway, what we have learned during the past, let's say, years is that, okay, security can improve. Security can lower the risk so that the business is made, let's say, viable. But we will never achieve 100% security. Bad stuff will happen. And when bad stuff happens, we need to be ready. So a quick question. Does any one of you know how to connect a USB into a car, like the Cherokee Jeep, to update the software of the car? I don't think that many of you will be able to do it. But that was the only option that they had when the issue I mentioned before arose. They had to instruct the owners of the car to either go to a garage to get the car updated or do the update themselves. This is not easy. It takes days, it takes weeks, it takes months. Since security for the connected car is so difficult, the system is so complex, we have to be resilient. We have to be able to narrow the window of opportunity that attackers have when they find a way to get in. We need an effective incident response. The telcos can do stuff on the network to block malicious activity. You can get help by security, let's say, specialists. But at the end of the day, I think it's critical to be able to trick the connected car as what it is. It's an Ethernet node. It's an IT system. You need to be able to quickly patch it so that this window of opportunity for the attackers to do harm gets the narrowest possible. Okay? And of course, the car OEMs, the Tier 1 suppliers, they are the owners of the product. They are the owners of the DNA. They have a key role, and they have a spectacular, let's say, safety heritage, and they are doing their job. However, we believe that in order to go faster and even reduce those risks quicker, we need to work all together. It's not that each player in the ecosystem should fight the battle on its own. Telcos and software internet services providers have a lot to offer in terms of the secure connectivity, adding capabilities to detect attacks and mitigate attacks, and also construct secure online services. Digital, let's say, services that car manufacturers, it's not their specialty, really. Security providers and system integrators, again, the added value security services will also be critical in this business as it is in other, let's say, business, financial sector, retail, whatever. There is a wealth of best practices in terms of the system design and also the software development that we can bring into the connected car if we collaborate as an ecosystem. And of course, the stick and the carrot. regulation standards have always been key. It's true that with cybersecurity, they are struggling to catch up. Security changes very quickly. But we believe that in this space, they have also a role to play, as they did play in other spaces like, I don't know, digital payment, thinking about PCI standards and things like that. So it's an ecosystem effort. And if you share this vision that privacy and cybersecurity should be a part of the connected cars DNA, at Telefónica and 11PASS, we are more than happy to work with you. We are already doing this with some players. If you want to contribute into this making this a reality, please contact me after the event. Thank you very much for your attention. I think we have some time for Q&A, right? No? No. Apologies then. So if you have any question, I will be around for a few minutes, okay? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Nikos, thank you very much.